Okay, so here's the good news. Everyone will eventually awaken. And it may take many lifetimes, it may take many incarnations, but this is where we're all headed. We're all just walking each other home, as Ram Dass said. And so when you get this, when you understand it, then all of a sudden it like takes the pressure away from you from like trying to make sure everyone that you know believes the same way you believe and making sure everyone has the correct theology so that when they die, they don't go to hell forever. You let go of that belief system because you know that, first of all, that doesn't exist. There is no kind of like dualistic reward or punishment system in the afterlife that determines where you spend eternity, because that's just, I've talked about this in other videos, this is something that has been invented by humans from the egoic consciousness. But when you move past that and you realize that what's actually going on is souls are experiencing these different incarnations, these different lifetimes for the purpose of evolution, as souls are returning back to source. And the name for this is simply awakening. It's remembering who we really are. And so each time a soul incarnates, there's different lessons, there's different things that the soul has to experience in order for the soul to experience more and more depths of awakening, in order for the soul to transcend all these different egoic layers of conditioning and these egoic tendencies and behaviors that come from not knowing who the person, who the being really is, which is divine. So each time we incarnate, we come into this particular incarnation, this particular body mind, with a curriculum, because the earth plane, this earth realm, is a school. And so we come here to learn. We're not coming here to figure it all out. No, we're coming here as another step. It's another round, and it's just leading to more and more growth and development. And so when you realize this, all of a sudden you start to have a tremendous amount of grace and compassion towards other beings, because you know that they're just on their own journey. They're experiencing things that they need to experience. They're working out certain things like karma, and they're discovering their dharma. And there's just so much that goes into the evolution of the soul and the different incarnations. And so you stop worrying about like trying to get all these other people to believe like you, to adhere to your religion or your belief structure or your theology, because you're worried about their afterlife destination. You let go of that, and life becomes more beautiful because you start to honor the divine in each being, and you know that they're on their own journey and remembering who they really are. And if you're at a place where you're starting to remember who you really are, then you can help them. You can become a light, and you can lead them into these deeper dimensions of awakening. And for many of us, like a lot of times, we will incarnate for one of the main reasons we incarnate is for helping other people, other beings along the way, to awaken more and more and more. And so that's like I said, it becomes a beautiful thing, because like as Ram Dass said, we're all just walking each other home, back to source consciousness, back to oneness, which is where all the souls manifest and emerge from. Okay, and so yeah, you just have this deep reverence and honor, and you let go of the judgment. You let go of trying to like make people fit a certain image that you have that is the way you like, the only way you can accept them or love them or whatever. Like you let go of all the different egoic conditioning and all the different egoic programming that comes with incarnating, that comes with, you know, being a being that's in a body mind. Like, but then you see that the ego is also part of the curriculum. It's also part of awakening, and all these different egoic tendencies and conditionings that we have are actually gifts. They're actually opportunities for us to awaken more and more and more. So you see everything as a teacher. You see everything as an opportunity to let go and to transcend and include, as Ken Wilber would say, more and more and more. And this is when you become more and more and more filled with the divine presence, with the infinite love that you inherently are, and you become the light of the world, as Jesus said, and you begin to shine. And like I said earlier, you begin to help others see who they really are. And life becomes a dance. Life goes from being like this test where, okay, and this is the theology that I was brought up with, that can be full of fear and anxiety, but it's this whole notion of, okay, life is pretty much a test. You're born, you get one opportunity, and if you're lucky, you'll live for 70 to 80 years. And in that time frame, that's your opportunity to figure it all out. That's your opportunity to join the right religion, or to believe in the correct God or theology, and to, have the correct salvific formula figured out and applied so that you can then go to heaven after your short temporary time here on earth. And if you don't figure it all out, if you don't believe in God, or if you don't adhere to the correct religion or doctrine or whatever, then when you die, when you get to the other side, you're judged because you didn't believe correctly, and you're sent to this place called hell, which is inescapable and forever and ever and ever. So it's like, it goes from that to being, you view life not as a test, but as a dance, as another opportunity to experience who you really are. Each incarnation, like I said, is another round. It's another step in the direction of remembering. And the evolution of the soul is not attainment. You're not like climbing up some ladder, although it can seem like that sometimes. No, what you're doing is you're letting go of all these different things that have been preventing you from experiencing the truth, which has always been true. It's always been right here. It's always been right now, which is who you really are and your divinity. And so that's why I said it's remembering. It's not attaining. You're not like trying to climb up the different spiritual levels and there's like this spiritual ladder, this hierarchy. No, it's not about that at all. The spiritual evolution, the spiritual journey is about letting go so that you can see what's always been true, so that you can see that you are what you seek, as Rumi said. That's what the journey is all about. And many of the mystics have figured this out, and they've talked about this. They've explained, and they've been teaching for years that this is the journey. We're all just remembering. We're all returning back to source. And it can seem very dualistic, and it can seem very dense, especially in this earth plane. But it's a lot different on the astral plane and on the higher planes above that. And you start to see the unity of being. It becomes very clear. It becomes very evident. And you start to live from that unity consciousness. But like I said, the mystics, they knew this. They've been saying this for a long time. And that's why some of the Christian mystics were universalists, and they had their views on how this would look in the future of everyone awakening. And they would frame it up a little bit different, and they would have their own words and their own interpretations of what it actually looks like. But essentially it's the same thing, where in the Christian tradition, the universal restoration, where eventually all beings will be saved, or all beings will realize that the Christ is within them, Christ consciousness. Like, this is, again, something we find in many of the writings from the different Christian mystics. And I'm thinking of Julian of Norwich. She was a Christian mystic, and she said something like this, and this has always been one of my favorite quotes. She said, "All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well." And there it is. That's it. That is, we're all just walking each other home. That is, we're all just remembering who we are, and all shall be well. Things are not getting worse, although it seems that way. And if we're programmed by some kind of fear, by some kind of anxiety that's being, like set up all around us, and we're in this system, we're in this matrix, then yeah, we're going to be persuaded into believing that things are getting worse, things are getting darker, and we're moving in the opposite direction collectively of walking in the light and experiencing the truth of our being. But that is not the case. Again, this is a programming that is disempowering us from awakening and from being the light of the world, from being the change we want to see in the world. And it's just another illusion. It's just another, like I said, it's a matrix. However, when you can deprogram and you can start to let go of all that stuff, then you experience the light of your being. You start to live from a higher state of consciousness. And then all of a sudden, the world around you looks different and your perception changes and you start to see the divine in each and every being. And as Thomas Merton said, when you see God in everyone, then they see God in you. And this is where we start to step into the consciousness of oneness collectively, when we're seeing the divine in everyone and everything. And there's a shift that's happening in the collective consciousness of humanity. And this is what it means to experience the light of life. And this is where we're headed. So, be encouraged by that. You can rest in that truth. And again, it takes the pressure off of you of feeling like you have to be the savior of the world or of your friends or your family members. No, you don't. The only thing you need to focus on is yourself, your journey, and that will lead you into adding value to the lives of people around you, and that will lead you to service to others, because once you awaken and once you start to walk in your divine essence, you can't help but embody and express love and compassion and peace into the world. So that's a byproduct of knowing who you are. But your focus starts with you. Your focus starts with what you need to work through, the inner work, the shadow work, the healing, and then transcendent, and then being the light of the world. And you're not focused, you're not concerned about anyone else's belief structure and why don't they think like me and why don't they see it the way I do. And no, you understand that each being is operating from a certain level of consciousness, and for the most part, they're doing the best they can according to that level of consciousness that they're operating from, because they're on their own journey, they're on their own path. So there's grace for that, there's compassion, there's non-judgment, okay? So again, be encouraged by this message. I believe this is the true gospel, this is the true good news. And the more we share this, the more people remember and they start to walk according to who they really are, which is divinity, which is love. And slowly but surely, this is how the collective shift happens. So remember what Julian of Norwich said, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. That's the truth. So if you found this video helpful, informative, or insightful, please leave a thumbs up at the bottom of the screen and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.